Like, speaking of great presents.
So, yeah, that's been real interesting, and a lot of the details that we've got about the jury are wrong.
All right, hit us.
Tell us. Give us the juice.
Without giving too many details to identify jurors, we've got sort of a profile that is heavily Asian, mostly male. It's 6 male to 3 women.
Okay.
I don't know if the masking mix means anything, although it does create some issues for some of the jurors in terms of some of them are wearing COVID masks, and that can make it a little harder to pick out their expressions.
Yeah.
And there have been some expressions that can be picked out.
Tell us.
So they started out and they were generally sort of all attentive and, being very, very diligent in writing, and that faded away fairly quickly. For some of them more than others.
Okay.
Juror B started out being like super careful in writing, and by the end of it, when you saw that breakdown that just happened, like just before the break there, where he was not just not paying attention, he literally had his head full on face down, like leaning it up against the chair in front of him.
Wow.
So, suffice to say, her testimony doesn't seem to be ringing very well with some of the jurors. There's a guy, we've been just lettering them, so juror F, who is an older white man, who just does not seem to be buying anything that is being sold. He's basically tuned out. I don't think I've seen him write more than a couple times, and basically just I don't think he cares much for her.
Wow.
There are some others who are more sort of poker faced, but there was one moment, when there's that sequence where they're trying to go through all of the bad audio and get her to provide explanations.
Mm-hmm.
One guy who was being pretty diligent. We were kind of worried that it seemed like he was really into what Amber was saying. After one of her explanations, when she's like, "Oh, that's to differentiate between how he hits me, he punches me and then I hit him."
The worst answer ever.
He made this sort of expression like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Oh my God.
I might have
rolled
made that
his head.
expression on the tape. You'd have to go back and
Yeah,
look.
he just sort of went, and I was just like, "Okay, I know where he sits."
Wow.
I think he's doing pretty well. That doesn't mean that he's gonna necessarily win, because there's still a really hard legal battle.
Yep.
But I mean, I
You've
think
got some
that
strong reactions, though.
I mean, people were trying to be pretty poker faced, but you're like, I'm sitting here, I'm super tired. We're running on like no sleep because we were in the line at 9:30, and that sucked. So
for those that don't know, in different time zones, that's 15 hours ago.
Yeah, we've been so about the only way to stay awake is to laser focus on the on the witnesses and or on the jurors rather, and they leak information over time. So I see a lot of sort of skepticism in there. There's also some really interesting back and forth undertone between Elaine and Amber. I think Amber's getting a little pissed at Elaine, and Elaine's getting a little pissed at Amber. It's been kind of funny to watch because every time there's these objections for like hearsay or whatever else, Elaine was trying to get her back to it, and Amber was leading into the objection.
Yes.
And you'd see that Elaine would get frustrated, and then Amber would get more combative.
Yeah.
And we've been sitting there kind of wondering, is this going to be a situation where they end up sort of having conflict, or at least, conflictual tone, at least, between the two of them. The one guy, we've seen people resting their head on their hand or board, that just moments of people making like stink face at when they're hearing evidence, going like, "Are you kidding me?" That last bit where they were going through all of the pictures and showing her, her bruise, people were tuned out. They were just not paying attention.
So the part with the makeup palette, they weren't paying attention at all.
Not with the makeup palette. Before that, when she was showing, this bruise, and like this could have been a big moment for her, because it's this moment when now they're saying, hey, we've got some corroborating evidence to say that there was an injury. But everyone was just tuned out. Everyone was just not paying attention, it looked like people were struggling to stay awake and just wanted,
wow.
yeah.
Ian, did you happen to see what drove the tissue question from Camille?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that was an allergy.
Okay. So I thought.
So I couldn't get a full view, but it didn't look like that juror was tearing up at all. I think that the juror wiped his nose.
It would have been an odd time. It was like photos of apartment buildings, but
very odd.
It did not, I couldn't see him just because there was a head in the way.
Okay.
But it didn't look like he was upset, and he moved his mask when he got the tissue. That bit I could see because he was. So I'm like, that sounds to me like somebody wiping their nose, not anything else. So I don't think that was anybody tearing up. I don't think there was a damp eye in that courtroom.
Okay. And then Camilla X3 says, what about the women jurors? Any reactions from them?
There's one in the front row who is super stone-faced and actually quite difficult to read. I'm not sure where she sits, but she is just, not reacting. In the back towards the right, somebody else who has a pretty good poker face and is wearing a mask, which makes it even more challenging. And one just sort of adjacent to her, who was at one point, when they're sort of going through the emotional testimony, she's kind of bouncing in her seat and looking super bored. So that's the best read I can get on those sort of three right now. But the one I think was really not buying it, or at least she looked bored. So, and I mean, if you're hardcore on Team Amber, that's the time when you want to look interested, right? When she's breaking down and so forth.
Yeah.
I did not see sort of reactions beyond just poker face to that. So
right.
I don't think that she was making too much headway there. So yeah.
I think so too. And
there was a guy
Santos, we answered this earlier, but thank you very much for the generous super chat. Sorry. Go on, Ian. Go on.
There was a guy who started grooming himself midway through.
How so?
Yeah, it's just like going over and sort of doing his hair and that, and I'm like, okay, so this guy's clearly on board. So I feel like this one is kind of interesting in terms of just how little they're gripping these jurors. That isn't to say that they won't find their stride later, but there were points of like some pretty clear disbelief, and particularly through that sort of let's fix up all that bad audio sequence that they did. There were some real moments when there were jurors just going, I don't buy it. So that I think that's a bad sign for her, because that's the time when she's got to fix those problems. And if she didn't fix those problems, then all she managed to accomplish was playing the bad audio again.
Right.
And and one thing I noticed with several jurors is that they'd hear the bad audio and they'd take notes, and then they'd hear Amber's explanation for the bad audio and they weren't taking notes anymore.
Wow. Oh no. That's the opposite of what you want to happen.
That is exactly it, right? And especially because this is bad audio they've already heard, right? So they have less reason to take notes during the audio and more for her explanations. Yeah, I would not be happy with that jury response if I was, Team Heard at the moment. So it's we're gonna have to figure out. There's gonna be a live stream later where we talk a little bit more about all this and try to sort of match it to some of the moments that we see there. Rob thinks that there might have been a moment where he got recognized, so we're going to have to go over that in some detail and see if he got recognized and see if he got made. But I also don't really know how I'm going to work tomorrow because if the line was at 10:30 was basically the cutoff today for when people got in. So I got to find a way to get home, stream, somehow sleep, and then be back out on the line for like earlier than we were today.
Oh no.
It's gonna hurt.
Ian, you're a mad person. We love that you're doing this, folks. This is Ian Runkle of the Bailey. He's going to be streaming today. Go subscribe. He's going to get even more insights for you later today. This is amazing stuff that he and Rob are doing because I couldn't stand in this line. So please do go check out that channel. He will be on. I think you're going to pop back on with us for a couple of minutes at the end of the day, right, Ian?
That's the plan. We'll pop on, and have a brief chat, and then go and do sort of a more in-depth breakdown.
Awesome.
The other the other thing is that the line today was crazy. I thought for a moment that it might turn into like a serious
riot.
Everybody had been up and lining up since 10:30 was basically when the cutoff was. And then the sheriffs came out at about midnight and said, hey, everybody needs to get away from the courthouse and we're not keeping your spot in line.
I mean, that's what they had been saying before. Like, they weren't going to start the line till 1 a.m. So, yeah.
But you had everybody who had already sort of figured out where they were and people who'd been waiting there. And then you get people who rolled in like way later going, well, I'm going to be front to the line. And there was going to be some real tension on that. And so thankfully it mostly got sorted out, although there were some moments with people who felt entitled to move to the front of the line, even though they got there later. And some people were very upset by that. And I thought some of that might turn into conflict. But it's going to be interesting to see if that happens tomorrow. And it also makes it more difficult for me to plan to go there and like rest. Because if I could just go there and have a nap at the site, that would be easier. But who knows if that's a thing. So
I mean, I was gonna say, like, you guys could, like, if the three of you go together again, you could like take breaks where you sleep for a few hours and somebody else sleeps for a few hours. Then you know what I mean, like do a night watch.
And that might be what has to happen. So
and can someone bring you like a cot and then take it back so you don't have to worry about it?
I'm gonna. I don't know if there's somebody who could like do a run like that, because that would be ideal. Somebody who just clean up afterwards and like, so we could just leave the cot and not have to worry about it. I don't know if that's possible.
We'll make it possible.
We'll try to figure it all out and get it all sorted. But it's pretty crazy times. I mean, the only other real alternative is if somebody waits in the line, but it's nuts. And there were people, there was a group who went around offering $500 a pop for 2 spaces in line that they wanted to give over. And that was before the line reshuffle. So that would have been real exciting if they'd paid $500 each to get a space in line that then became no longer valid. We might have seen some excitement. And I just want to note, I'm not blaming the court staff here. They've got really important stuff they got to take care of, and they were doing a real good job at keeping everything, sorted as best they could, given that this was a contentious and changing circumstance. So they did fantastic. I'm not going to throw shade their way. It's just, it is what it is, right? And it's a very difficult thing to manage. We don't want people lining up before 1 a.m. with the amount of demand there is. So we'll have to see. Maybe they'll come up with a different system tomorrow. And I see somebody was asking any reactions during her explanation of Mr. Grumpy. I'd have to go through my notes a little bit more there, but I think that people were just kind of like, if I recall, like just from memory, people were just kind of like okay, staring blankly, and I don't think anybody really was buying into that. You didn't have anyone make the oh that explains it face, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
nobody went aha.
And also, Marilyn K earlier, thank you so much for your $50 super chat, who said just saying thanks. I showed it earlier, but I didn't want to interrupt Ian in the middle of what he was telling us, because this has been so important. I'm so thankful that you are coming on with with everything that you've got going on. I know I'm sure you must be starving for lunch right now. I mean, we're able to like have snacks while we're sitting here, but obviously you can't do that in court.
Yeah.
Do you guys have like lunch arranged somehow?
We've got pizza coming, so that should be a thing. And yeah, so I think Rob and I will pop on once we're done and back at Castle Rob. And so I think that's the plan. We're still kind of working all this out because it's been a chaotic day. But anyway, I should probably have got about 17 requests from people who want me to pop on and do a brief commentary. So I will.
Can other people wait in line for you?
Yeah, Thrashley says I live in the DMV area and can help with sleep cycles.
Because I bet we could find people to go and sit in your spots.
Yes.
I'm on Twitter as Ian Runkle. Look me up and shoot me a DM, because if there's people who can help, that would be fantastic.
That would be amazing. If there's anybody out there that would like to, that is in the DMV area, that would like to volunteer as tribute to help these guys get some sleep. We've got 3 guys that we need 3 bodies to stand in their place for them. That would be amazing.
I can tell you that today I'm sitting there during the thing, just trying not to fall asleep, because if I fall asleep, I'm pretty sure they're going to bounce me. So I'm just sitting there like,
I mean, I did send you information on the line standing services. Did that not pan out?
Yeah, but those are crazy expensive.
They can
the
be.
line standing services are crazy expensive and have to be booked like a while before. So I'm not going to be able to get one for the rest of the time I'm here, I don't think. And they're not super keen on Fairfax County in the first place. They much prefer to do DC. So,
yeah.
Start a thing on your Twitter and let people sign up there.
Yes. Well, like if maybe if we could like find maybe set up a Google Doc that people can fill in information.
That's a better way to do it.
Or something.
Yeah.
Like if we could like crowdsource this to like get people to sign up for times.
I will let you guys do a little bit of the sort of the back end of figuring out a system. If not,
I'm sure there's a Google Doc smart viewer that can get that started for us. And then maybe send the group a link or something like that. I'm sure someone is out there that has a moment that can do that. This would be fantastic. Okay, but otherwise, we've got folks that are super chatting here saying they're also in the DMV. They can get you coffee and stuff too. So folks, reach out to him, reach out to Rob, reach out to Larry, DUI guy, and bring them food and coffee. Otherwise, I'll let you go, because I know you said you got a lot of requests.
Go get pizza. You're killing it, Ian.
Yes.
Well, thank you, and talk to you guys later.
Staying hydrated. Hey, how's it going, Rob?
I'm moving around so I don't fall asleep.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
It's a good strategy.
Rob, we're getting together a sign up list for people to sign up to take your guys' place in line so that you can get some sleep overnight for tonight. Yeah, 100%. Like Liz is legitimately organizing this right now and setting it up so that we can get
Liz
people
is concerned for your health, Rob.
Yes.
I am.
I mean, did you see that Justice for the Chat went viral?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Justice for the Line went viral too.
I love it.
This is crazy.
Yeah. Let me just answer the super chat real quick. So yeah, I do wish that they would request to strike these answers that are ultimately non-responsive and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I think that what they're most concerned about is the what it is that the jury is hearing here. They won't get a test. Yeah, they won't get a transcript copy of this at the end of the day. Striking is more important for like an appeal or something like that. But anyhow, yes, thank you so much for your very generous super chat. Rob, tell us your impressions.
That 2 of the jurors are impossible to read. One of them is super easy to read. One of them has completely checked out, basically towards the end of lunch period. they have zero emotional response to any of the emotion, like that entire emotional breakdown. Not one of them did like or any gesture whatsoever. They were rock solid. If anything, they looked down. One of the jurors looked down and pretended to take notes. Like you would see his pen like wiggling around, but it was clear he wasn't writing anything. One thing I noticed was for most of the testimony, they had their chair pointed towards Elaine and they were craning their neck towards Amber, which in direct examination, that is not what you want to see. You want to see that chair pointed directly at Amber, and if anything, looking at the attorney to get clarification. Wow. The objections are really funny. The gallery, I think, laughed at one point because it was like leading, objection leading, leading, objection leading, leading, objection leading, still leading, and the gallery just starts chuckling. Elaine's getting so frustrated.
Does it seem like the jury is maybe reacting to any of these objections at all, or no?
We're convinced that one of the jurors hates Elaine. And I thought at first that he was looking at Johnny Depp's table or looking at Vasquez and shooting daggers for making the objection. But the thing is, after Elaine rephrased and posed the second follow-up question, he would stay locked on Elaine for like a good another second. So it was like, I don't see where you're going with this. It was really kind of odd to watch, but yeah, I don't think the jury is picking up on Elaine or enjoying what she's doing, and they're not emoting with Amber. There really is no connection. Okay.
Interesting. So Ian was telling us that there's 6 men, 3 women, and as we've heard before, a lot of Asian Americans on this jury. What about he mentioned like one older white man. Other than that, what's like the age range here?
So they're super young. All the reports that we've gotten that they're young, knock 10 years off it. Like I think that there's at least 2 jurors that are in their 20s.
Okay.
Then maybe 2 more that are in their late 20s, early 30s. One that's probably in their late 30s. And there's one guy's in his 60s. One of the ladies is in their 50s, and the other lady is in her maybe 40s.
Okay.
But they're by and large very young.
Okay. Interesting. I wonder how that's going to play for like understanding of a lot of this stuff in this case, and culturally, people's like buy-ins or not buy-ins to different social movements that have been kind of involved here.
What's funny is watching the jury like become more skeptical as they're watching the testimony. You can see some of them engaging, and then you can also kind of tell that you'll see like a furrowed brow, or they'll look down and then look back up and they'll look down, look back up. Like, there's increasing skepticism as they keep hearing the testimony.
Okay. Interesting.
I can relate.
Those photos were so stupid. I mean, the jury didn't, with the photos of the house, every juror was checked out.
Really? Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Fascinating.
But we're going to run back up.
Okay. Hey,
all right.
Hey, Ian. Good to see you again.
See you,
So,
gentlemen.
so how much more time do we have before lunch or before lunch ends? I guess
10
minutes,
2
20
minutes.
minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, 2 minutes.
Rob's out.
Oh, geez. Okay. Okay, for sure. So then hopefully we'll see you guys afterwards if you guys have a little bit of time and energy. I know you guys want to be going onto your channels, putting out some content on there as well.
At the very least, there's the drive home.
We'll pop
Don't
on.
crash your car, Rob.
Yes, please. But yeah, we're gonna try to get some information to you guys about getting somebody in the line for you guys tonight, so that you guys can get some rest and
That'd be freaking awesome.
Be laser focused on this jury as well, for sure. So that
We need 3
more
people ideally.
Yes.
Because they're not going to let us do one person sitting for 3.
Yep.
Right.
It's not
We
one-to-one
need one
training.
body
We'll have
replacement
this
for each.
Yep, I have 3 spots each. Yep.
Perfect.
Lord,
Okay,
you guys are awesome.
good. Thank you, Liz. So, yes, amazing. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys.